South Pod, Rise of a Region, hosted by Stanfield Gray and John Yarian.
Greetings and welcome to South Pod. I'm John Yarian, your host, and we are coming to you from the Dig South Conference itself in sunny Charleston, South Carolina. I am pleased to be joined by Sam Lederman with Shipt, and his official title is Growth Manager. And before we get into anything else, Sam, thank you for being here. Help us understand what that means. What do you do at Shipt?
Absolutely, thanks for having me. So as a growth manager, I oversee paid membership acquisition. So Shipt is the US's fastest on-demand grocery delivery service, and we are based on a membership model. So my job is to spread our service and accrue the most amount of members in a given market, as we are currently in a nationwide rollout. So my team of 4 really just focus on paid digital channels that attract new customers where we're expanding, as well as in our post-launch mature markets, with a focus on data-driven approaches that I can know every penny I put in, what we get out.
And you are based in the South. You're headquartered in Birmingham, is that correct?
Correct. So we were started in 2014 in Birmingham by Bill Smith, our co-founder. He's a serial entrepreneur down there. And he actually started Shipt as a big box same-day delivery service. Coincidentally enough, with Target, Best Buy, Home Depot, etc. After several months of kind of struggling to expand and catch some heat, they pivoted to grocery. And it's a pretty funny story. Our founder Bill was in a Birmingham grocery store with his 2 newborns, I think an 8-month and a little over a 1-year-old, and they had a double tantrum. So they had to leave the store, and at that moment in the parking lot, he kind of had an epiphany of pivoting from what they're currently doing with big box to solving grocery delivery. At the time, there's really just one player being Instacart, but there's just so much room for other players to come into. So that's how we started grocery delivery in Birmingham. So right now we have about 250 employees in Birmingham and a big SF office as well.
Sure. Now, I'm going to get way out on a limb here. You don't sound like you're from Birmingham.
How could
I just
you tell?
get the sense that you maybe weren't born there. Where are you from?
I'm not. So I'm born and bred in Boston. So I came down to Birmingham about just over 2 years ago. Actually following a girl. My girlfriend is attending UAB grad school for a PhD in cancer research. And she was worth it. So I moved down blind, and Shipt just concluded their Series A round of funding. So they're hiring, and it really worked out well.
Well, what was that transition like? I mean, that's extremely different. It would be hard to think of a more like abrupt shift in culture, weather, many other things. What was that like for you?
Everything, yeah. So when I told my family, they're very supportive. When I told my friends, they thought I was crazy.
Well, wait, where Boston specifically? Get more specific. Boston.
So I was living in downtown the North End for about 3 years, and then previously Brighton, kind of outskirts, for 3 other years. But I grew up with my parents in Sudbury, which is an outlying suburb.
Okay, great.
But yes, to your point, everything from sports. It's college sports town. Boston, we have nothing. Maybe BC, but it was very eye-opening. But I think as a marketer too, it kind of opened my eyes, where it's easy in the Northeast to kind of fall into those certain sentiments and not understanding the South, and there's some pretty crappy stereotypes that you may hear up there. And just being in the South, I kind of find a parallel to the Northeast of loyalty. In Boston specifically, there's movies and, just countless dramas of that Boston loyalty, to your...
I've never
heard that.
No idea what you're talking about.
And to the South, what I found a good parallel is loyalties to values. I think people between the Northeast and South, like myself, really get along, where they're very passionate about loyalty in some aspect. Even though it can be very different, I've grown some amazing relationships fast down in Birmingham than I ever have in Boston. I think it's a tougher market to crack from a socialization standpoint in Boston, but coming down south, if someone comes up to me on the sidewalk and they're smiling, they say, "How you doing?" I love it. If you do that in Boston, they're going to look at you like you're crazy or that you want something. Boston, it will always be my home, but Birmingham has surprised me every day pleasantly since I've been down there.
So diplomatic. I love that. What a great answer. So Sam, he's telling all of us, right? He just loves every single thing about Birmingham.
I don't love
nothing
the humidity.
Okay. Yeah, we found it.
Oh,
all
yeah.
right.
And to be honest, I don't have an allegiance to college sports yet. Half my office is Auburn, half mine is Alabama.
Oh,
so
that's rough.
So I have to play diplomacy within the office in that aspect.
That's rough.
So I just say I'm a Patriots fan.
And that's the one thing we can all agree we hate, so that's perfect.
Yeah, so I
It makes you
ostracize myself a
Yeah,
little
it's
bit.
like
Yeah.
Switzerland, except if everyone attacked it. It's great.
Absolutely.
That's how it ought to be. Yeah. Interesting. Well, you know what? It occurs to me, though, you probably are kind of an advocate or explainer or translator for what business and people are like in the North to your colleagues in the South. You know, obviously you said you've learned a lot being in Birmingham, but I'm guessing that you've probably exploded a few stereotypes for them, too. What did they assume? What did they think you're supposed to be like just because you're from Boston?
Absolutely. That well, one, we speak really quickly, and that we're a little more abrupt and curt. You know, for instance, we deal with a lot. My team deals with a lot of external vendors and partners, whether it be ad tech or an ESP. You know, several different types of marketing services. And from my experience, in Boston's a good tech hub, along with New York. Is a lot of them are based in the Northeast. So. And I used to be on the vendor side. I come from ad tech, so I used to be on the other side of the phone selling or upselling, being the strategist for brand direct. So that's another very difference in my career, being internally doing the marketing. But going back to your question of kind of the different aspects of the North versus the South is the speed, and I think mostly the speed, where they want to get an IO signed the day that you talk to them.
Yeah.
Where in the South, it's more of a relationship build, right? You get to know them. You might have an intro call. You have a call next week. I find in the Northeast, they just want to sell that, and they don't care as much about the relationship, but I think I see value in both. I was just in Boston 2 weeks ago. We launched Boston in the Northeast, which was really exciting for me. And I was up there for a while, and I brought a lot of my buddies and ex-colleagues to our launch party. And it was really nice to see kind of both sides, you know, start just really hashing at it. But the Southern hospitality aspect of our service, our value is our shoppers. So we have a motto: our shoppers bring the magic to every point, the delivery to in the store to ordering on the app, where our competitors, we separate ourselves where we build relationships between our shoppers and our members. Shoppers have brought in members flowers on a certain anniversary that they weren't really told about, or visit them in the hospital. It's more than just A to B delivery. We actually have people, mothers, we say, shopping for mothers.
Can you quickly define shoppers versus members?
Great question, yes.
Yeah.
So a shopper, in our eyes, is one of our independent contractors, similar to Uber or Lyft, who we employ, and they make their own schedule, and they shop at the grocers or retailers that we serve in a given metro, and they'll actually go to the store and drop it to our member, our paying customer, their house.
So the shopper literally does the thing, the service in question. The member is the direct paid relationship with you, where I say this is what I want and it arrives at my house.
Exactly. As a paid member, you pay an annual subscription fee, or we have a monthly option, and then in a given metro, you have a marketplace. So you generally will have a pure grocer, you'll have a bulk option, specifically Target, and an assortment of other options, Florida, ABC, alcohol delivery, as well as Michigan. We're working on rolling that out. So as a member, you place an order on our mobile app or our desktop app, and you select through our product catalog with our partners. You're shopping aisle by aisle, just as if it's an in-store experience. And then after, you select an hour window to deliver for your shopper, to deliver your groceries. And at the same time, on the shopper side, there's a shopper app. You put yourself on the schedule. You'll pick up an order for a 3 to 4 delivery. You'll go to a Target or a Publix or et cetera between maybe the hour before, and then you have to deliver between the hour allotted from the member.
I love it. Just another way to reward my massive inertia. This is just a great, great concept. It's interesting to talk to you because a lot of times on the pod, we're with founders at some origination point of a concept that's, you know, they're looking for investment or trying to build out. We also talk to folks who are kind of on the mountaintop or maybe over it. They've exited. They've got achievements they're looking back on. You guys are scaling, like you're in it. It is in motion, in progress. Help me understand what that feels like from a culture perspective, from a work dynamics perspective. How do you manage that process of growth at the rate you guys are growing?
Yeah, absolutely, that's a great question. So when I started on the marketing team, we were at about 38, 37 live metros. Today we're at 106. And unlike most startups, we started in Birmingham and we grew middle out. So we started growing the Southeast. We started growing up the Midwest. And then eventually when we really owned those areas where our competitor really grew from the coast in, like most startups from SF, New York, or Boston, we really found our playbook. It was almost our sandbox environment. We knew what worked. And then fortunately, December, Target acquired us, which was a really special day. And now they're such a great partner. They are allowing us to still take on new partners. So we're expanding nationally with them currently. So now we're up the Mid-Atlantic, Northeast, Northwest, West Coast, soon to be. But they allow us to bring on local grocers as well. To really, at the end of the day, we want to be a marketplace for all your same-day delivery needs. Grocer, bulk right now, and an assortment of other options coming down the line. To your question though, the culture hasn't changed too much. Of course, budgets have changed.
Yeah.
Headcount has changed rapidly.
Checks
Not a lot of
big red
sleeping going
target
on.
them now.
Yeah, there's just a lot of work to be done, but I think it's ingrained in our culture, especially being out of the South, where we're humble. We know our roots. We have an amazing SF office with a bunch of talent too, and we literally feel like it's one office. Half my team's in SF, half's in Birmingham. There's a lot of travel that goes on to keep that cohesion, but I think just staying humble. We knew how scrappy we were. We still kind of act scrappy, even though we have the resources, that we didn't have a year ago. But just keeping that mindset of not being complacent. And of course, growing in new markets on the coast is a whole different beast in the Southeast and Midwest from a demographic standpoint to a clutter standpoint. These new markets are more saturated with on-demand services from A to Z. Where in the Midwest and Southeast is a little less competitive in that regard.
Yeah. Let's pivot a little bit to you specifically and where you are in your career, because I think a lot of our listeners can relate to where you're at, both by age and interest, and kind of some of the things I'm sensing and some of the things you've said. And I'm going to guess that you're doing a bunch of stuff that was not on your original job description and certainly wasn't on your resume. I'm guessing you have grown and expanded and added capabilities. How do you think about that? How do you think about getting better at your job while you're busy doing it? I mean, how does that work for you?
It's a great question. So I think just having certain attainable goals, whether it's qualitative or quantitative, and just being laser focused and doing anything I can do to achieve that. Meaning when I started, I was essentially our email marketer as well as our paid membership marketer.
Yep.
I never created emails. I mean, I know how to send them through MailChimp or responses, and I was sending, thousands of emails on behalf of our brand, but I think it's just, I don't want to say you're thrown into the fire.
Outed your company as hiring somebody totally unqualified for the job. I love it. Hey, it worked out. It's okay. It worked.
Yeah, it's recorded, right? No, I think just with my background in agency life and programmatic ad technology, I understand what works, what doesn't in regards to growth and what metrics to look at, but the tactful day-to-day sending out emails originally or responding on social media when we were a 7-person marketing team is very different now that we're a 31-person marketing team. And I have 3 people under me. I oversee now just strictly digital paid membership acquisition, meaning anytime there's an ROI-driven campaign. And that was my background, so I still kind of honed in on my subject matter expertise, but with wearing, I hate to say wearing many hats, but that's what you have to do at any startup.
Yeah.
And I think I've shedded a lot of hats over the last 2 years and brought back my original Boston Red Sox hat, should I say, my digital ad expertise, but rounding out my email, days when we began, I now understand what my email team is doing and where we've come from and how it can impact my retention or my churn when I'm doing really growth.
Well, I love it. I mean, we heard why you moved there. You took this job, but it sounds like you really leaned into it and have become a part of something bigger and probably changed the whole trajectory of your career. What, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but what's 10 years away, 20 years away for you? I mean, is there a startup somewhere in there? Is there something else? What's your vision?
That's a great question.
Why don't you just say it right into the microphone? Let's just commit right now.
I'll just start pitching my new startup.
Let's do it.
Say 10 years from now, honestly, I'd love to, as much as I love Shipt and be in the South, I'll probably be somewhere else. That's also indicative of my girlfriend's postdoctorate and all that.
Uh-huh.
But my roots are in the Northeast. But from a career standpoint, what drew me to marketing is the creative aspect. I love to, and I have some film background. I thought I was going to go to college to be a film major, but it's more of a hobby, which is good. I kept it as a hobby.
Yeah, great.
But I think, really still being in the marketing space where I can use my competitive sales background too, but while being creative. Does that mean maybe starting my own business? Absolutely. I have some ideas in regards to more of, entertainment or sports. That's my passion. So I'd love to kind of immerse my current career strengths with more of my passionate hobbies. But to your point, what drew me to Shipt is we were changing an industry. It was such a massive feat where I like getting my hands dirty. I don't like doing the same tedious task every day, where at Shipt everything was different every single day. I want to keep that, but as I kind of refine my expertise, I don't want to just be doing Facebook advertising or just doing programmatic advertising. Yeah. I want to be in a little more of a strategic, maybe overhead role eventually, and I think that's where I'm headed towards.
Great. Well, let's wrap up by making you feel bad about Boston sports teams. It really feels like the Patriots run is kind of over.
Well, the good news is Gronk is coming back for the year.
Yeah, what's left of him. I mean, Brady's, on fumes.
I think
it feels like the end. I mean, you have to admit it feels like the end.
That's what they said 2 years ago, though. I think it's a cycle. My projection, hot take, is Brady plays 2 more years and gets 1 more ring.
I don't see it. It helps to play in an atrocious conference. I mean, that's a great advantage every year.
I have a lot of Jets fans. It's fun to call them up.
Okay. Plug it. Give it. What's the URL? What should we do? Shipt is an amazing service. How can listeners be a part of it? Go.
Absolutely. So if you want to become a member of Shipt, actually right now through 5/13, Mother's Day, we're running a flash sale. So right now you can get 50% off an annual membership, which is regularly $99, but now it's $49. So that will give you unlimited deliveries for a year. There is no delivery fee unless it's under $35. It's pretty easy to get above $35 in any Target or grocery order. So just go to shipt.com, plug in your zip code and email, and it will show you what retailers will service you in your metro. And if we're not servicing you yet, I promise you in the next few months, we will service about 80% of our nation.
Amazing. Sam Lederman, Shipt. He's from Boston, but we love him anyway. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to Southpod, Rise of a Region, where innovators dish on success, failure, and a rapidly evolving South.